Hello, this is our sound check so that I don't forget to sound check early. Hello to Mike G, Paul, Ruth, Fred. Happy New Year, Fred. Scalane. Hello, Cheryl. How are you? Let's see. To Marjorie as well. Hello. I'm scanning now. Hold on, I'll get up to date here in a second. Hello to Gabrielle. Hi, Saban. Saban, it's a very rainy, cold day here. Well, cold in Arizona terms. And hello to Olivia. All right. I think I'm up to. Hopefully, didn't forget to say hi. If I did, sorry. Um, Hello and welcome. Welcome to 2026, the year that all people born in 1976 have been fearing. Uh, my name is Andrew. I'm a certified mindfulness meditation coach, and I was the moderator, one of the moderators, and sometimes guest host on the Do Nothing Project back when the Do Nothing Project was on YouTube. So, which is only a month or so. I am kind of enjoying the rain, and at the same time, it's been like it's kept me inside. So, yeah, that was a subtle way for me to say that I'm turning I'm turning 50 this year, and I'm not super excited about it. So Jocelyn is in a similar boat. Hello to Lynn. Welcome, Lynn. Yeah, there was a lot of, I really appreciated a lot of the posts that were like, check in on your friends born in 76 that were going around. So yeah, I hope that 50 is the new 35. I don't feel as old as the number is. So yeah, and Cheryl, I have heard that 50 is good. So um all right. Welcome to the fifth floor. Thank you, Olivia. Um September. So I'm a Virgo. Okay. Apologies for starting a little bit late. So I was listening to the podcast, the newest podcast. Dan Harris has a 10% happier podcast with a gal who is a IFS practitioner. It's really interesting. So hello, Maureen. If I didn't say hi to you earlier, apologies. So yeah, and I got kind of like spaced out and was like, whoa. And then by the time I realized it, it was already 16 minutes past. So what do we usually do? We do 25 minutes, mostly sort of in the mindful noting or noting practices and mindful awareness, and then we let go of whatever technique has been picked. And we shift into do nothing. So if you've been to the Do Nothing Project, usually there's very little, a minimal practice, and then at the end there's a friendliness practice. Here we're doing something for most of the time, and then we do nothing at the end. So yeah, that's the piece there. Welcome, Colette and Brian. You have not officially not missed anything, by the way. Other than me announcing that I'm going to turn 50 this year, and that's it's a whole it's a thing that I'm pondering. Hopefully you are either recovering from the flu or you have dodged the flu, which is seems to be everywhere at the moment. I am taking high doses of vitamin C. But if you have been sick, whenever I'm sick, I feel like my mindfulness practice actually gets better, which is super weird. I don't want to be sick, but if you're going to be sick, maybe there's some sort of knock-on benefit, and that is often a knock-on benefit for me, that my mindfulness gets better because I'm more aware. So, all right. I have a bell. Let's see. I don't know. Huh. Okay. One of my little thing that I usually prop my phone up on is not where it needs to be. These are the things, but 25 minutes on the clock, nothing hidden up my sleeve. And then we'll invite the bell. For today, I'm just going to play around with, I'm going to play around with feel, and then allow you to choose feel in or feel out. And we'll play around with that. And then, so what is feel? When I say feel, so unified mindfulness has all of these sort of shorthands that are meant to, once you've learned them, help sort of unpack a lot of information. So feel means the body sensations that we would have and experience whenever we're sitting. We are training the skill of concentration power, the clarity of what's going on in our moment-to-moment awareness, which we call as sensory clarity, and equanimity. And then for folks that are here, most folks are Do Nothing Project familiar. Jeff Warren adds care to those three skills. So CC&E and then care, and that care is really the notion of I almost think of it as mindfulness to a certain extent, but it's like almost like a skillful action kind of a thing. So that's my best short version of care. So we'll play around with our focus range is just the body. So that's either emotional body sensations or physical body sensations. So the temperature of your hands when they're touching, the feeling of your clothes on your skin, things like that would all be examples of feel out. The sort of weird pit in your stomach kind of feeling of, did I leave the oven on? So we often will have emotional body sensations feel in, that's corresponding to or seems to be linked or triggered by mental talk. So the mental talk would be outside of our focus range, but the feeling would be in our focus range. So yes, global feel would be another good term, Paul. So you can tell I'm not up to date on my latest terms, but global feel. I'm a little old school, and I used to do just feel. Was actually the tagline for feel in and feel out was just feel. But I don't know if that is what is used as much. All right, that's a bunch of words. Hopefully they landed in a positive way. Sourdough scones. I'm on board with that. I would like those as well. So it's like, don't think of the white bear. You won't be able to meditate without thinking about sourdough scones. Now I'm imagining. So, all right. I have a somewhat fancy bell, but also kind of simple. And I have an inviter, and I will invite the bell. So we'll begin as we always do with establishing our posture. So ultimately, we're looking for a state that is relaxed and alert, and adopting a posture that helps us to be upright without being uptight is one way to begin fostering that or cultivating that relaxed alert state. I'll focus on the seated posture, either in a chair, on a bench, or a cushion, but you can adapt the guidance to lying on the floor, standing, or even walking. And if you want to sort of spatially check in, so shoulders over your hips, the feet are on the floor or arranged in a way that is less likely to cause you to fidget. And if you have to move, that's no big deal. Just move and return to stillness. The eyes could be open or half the eyelids half closed, gaze dropped, or closed, your choice. And then just seeing if we can take a thin slice sample of what it's like right now to be a sentient being in this moment. So I sometimes say this is like taking the inner weather, checking our inner weather, what's already here, not chasing it away, but checking in and welcoming. And then finally, a few deliberate breaths. Slow and low is the tempo we're going for. Breathing in through the nose allows us to slow that breath down, sinking low into the belly. And as our inhale turns around and becomes our exhale, seeing if we can extend or accentuate. The benefit for me of having a few deliberate breaths is just it's that real sudden, obvious reminder of, oh yeah, I have a body. I'm not just this floating head. So in a just feel or global feel technique, our focus range is physical body sensations, emotional body sensations. And our instructions are ultimately what we would do for any noting practice. Notice where our attention, our concentration is landing. If it's outside of the focus range, we bring it back to the body, back to the focus range. Soak the attention in, and optionally label feel. You can play with the frequency of the labeling, finding something that is a sort of pleasing or maybe metronome quality. You can use the mental note as though it was a whisper, or maybe your best yoga teacher voice. Or you can even speak the label out loud if you're in a place that is conducive to that. And one last thought is just if you find yourself pulled away by the sounds in my environment or sounds in your environment, seeing if you can not make a judgment of that. Just like, oh, I've been pulled away, or there's a drifting that's happened, and then drift back to the body, back to our focus range. So I'll give you a longer period here where I'll be quiet and let you explore on your own. So just feel. So just a reminder that you can tune and tweak your technique. Again, I use the acronym ION as a reminder to the mnemonic for that. So maybe there's a lot of rest coming up in the body, and that's something that's of interest. You can shift to focusing on the rest. And that's sort of still within our focus range, so it's not a big shift. Or maybe there's an opportunity for you to work with sounds around you, or maybe mental images, shifting out of our focus range into that. Or maybe just out of necessity, your foot hurts or your hip hurts and you need to lie down or stand, change your posture. So just using that mnemonic, ION, interest, opportunity, necessity, to compassionately tweak our technique so that it meets your needs. Or you can continue with global feel. And so this is your opportunity to shift from whatever technique you were doing and moving into do nothing. So I like to think of it as the opportunity to just coast. So if you've been pedaling and pedaling, now you've reached the hill and you can coast. So our pith of instructions is to, with do nothing, let go of any intention to control or micromanage our attention. And if you've let go of the desire to count mentally or something that's going on in experience multiple times, just seeing if you can let that happen in the background. So just do nothing. I'll invite the bell to signal the end of our sit. Thank you for your practice. May the fruits of our practice be for all beings. May our actions be for the benefit of all beings. May we remember we are part of all beings. Hope that was at least a beneficial sit. So let's see. Before the new year, I had said that, oh, hi, Moira. That I was making a zine, a one-page zine that you print out and then you fold. So the prototype is here. I think I've showed the prototype before. And then I've got a few test folds that look like I've got it right. So folks had reached out in email for that. So be on the lookout in your inbox if you message me about that. And I'll send out, I'm just going to I'm trying to figure out what instructions I should give for printing it out. So that's part of my ask for the people that are testing. So that is your sort of test. So if you message me about that, then you can take a look and you'll potentially see an email from me. If for some reason you aren't on the twice weekly reminder emails that I send out, you can send an email to that email address and I'll add you. So thank you. Thanks for the folks that have liked the video. I'm getting more view recommendations from, like, I guess what YouTube considers like organic sources. So thank you for the likes and everything for that. That's really nice. I think that's everything. I don't think I have anything else to remind. And then we're dangerously close to the top of the hour. So, and it's actually dark out here. So it's been raining all day. Yes, and if you haven't, thanks, Paul. And then I'm still playing around with like things for 2026. I know in March we did kind of like practice focus sessions on Saturday mornings, and that was kind of a big plus. There's a lot of focus around supporting practice in January. If folks like Sharon Salzberg usually runs a meditation, an email challenge that usually goes on in February. So if you're looking for some support there, that's another thing. And so I was looking at March sometimes is a nice opportunity to sort of refocus or reboot. So still looking at something in there. I'm trying to make it. Sometimes hear this in the startup and like agile software community of what would it look like if it was easy. So I'm trying to think of what would it look like if it was easy. Because last year I tried to come up with really grand ideas that didn't work out. But the thing that did work out was the practice focus sessions on Saturday. And so those were on Zoom, slightly different than YouTube. So chance to ask questions, check in with people, see everybody's faces. So that's a thought. Every year, I think I'm going to write more on a blog or a website or something. The latest incarnation of that delusion is Substack. So I have written a little bit about Substack. So January is a sobriety anniversary for me. So I'm usually kind of thinking about that. And I've been using the Mind Shift Recovery app in the last year. And so I've been trying to think about some way of just talking a little bit about that. A couple of people I know I had recommended Mind Shift, and they really have enjoyed the program. And so I feel like it's a sort of a disservice that I'm not talking about it more, I guess, just because I found it so beneficial. If folks know Dr. Judd Brewer, it's a culmination of Dr. Judd Brewer's work. So his his unwinding anxiety, his Eat Right Now app, and all of that sort of stuff. Has I think those apps had transitioned to. I think he had those had transitioned to like a healthcare provider, and so the mind shift. Oh yeah, yes, he Craving to Quit. Thank you, Marjorie. So I think he did maybe 3 or 4 apps, and I'm trying to think of. They're all mindfulness-based interventions. If you're curious, you can look for Judd Brewer and in the catalog for 10% Happier podcasts. Oh, okay, that's interesting, Marjorie. And Mindshift is has been really beneficial. Not just for sort of substance use and things along those lines or patterns, but also just it's really a general kind of thing. So I'm mentioning that. So that I may try to blog a little bit about it, so that if and when I have something to link to of like, hey, this is my experience. Um, so yeah, and then if you've been playing around with the 10% app, I'm on there. If you find me, I don't know if there's a way to connect or message or whatever on there yet, but I've been doing the sits with Joseph Goldstein, and I've been really enjoying those. So that's going on right now. Yeah, I haven't figured out. There's like the podcasts and the sessions are real focused for if you I think I'm just on there as like Andrew Leonard, so I should be findable. But yeah, so if you check that out. And then some folks have asked me what app I use, and Insight Timer is what I've been using for like 15 years. And then I like kind of vibe coded this little dashboard that shows me my stats for the last 15 years. So you can export your Insight Timer, your stats, and then you can put it in there and you can see like, year over year, month over month kind of different things. And so one of my friends had said, well, why haven't you shared that? So that's another thing that maybe will find its way out into the world in 2026. So, oh yeah. So Nicoya, is it Nicola or Nicoya? For some reason, I thought it was Nicoya. Nicoya was one of the teacher instructors when I was in my cohort. And then maybe Fred and I will manage to is this Nicola? Okay. I swore it was Nicoya, but okay, maybe okay. All right, that makes me feel better. And maybe Ralph and I will manage to do some collab stuff at some point. So maybe I can convince Ralph. All right. There, I stopped before the top of the hour. I know folks have to jump to other things. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making time. Hello to everybody in Australia who watches, and the 6 people that watch in India. Hello. And I will see you potentially at Do Nothing on Substack on Sunday. And then we'll be right back here, same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.